Oh,
Oh, right. So do you want to start?
yeah. So this is going to be our first podcast here. We're going to try and do this every week. And we got Renzu, JJ, and Zzimba here with us today. Renzu is our guild leader for Gate. JJ's longtime player. I'm sure most people in the game know him. And then everybody knows Zzimba.
Zzimba.
He's the guy. So we're going to go over some stuff to do with the game. And first step here, you guys can introduce yourself. We'll start with Renzu. Say like how you got into the game and what you're kind of doing.
I got into the game just pretty much from an ad on a YouTube video. And then, the later at Gate, I made it drunk on New Year's Eve, and it's taken off since then.
True stories.
Yeah, it's been taking off pretty good. All right, JJ?
I
Wanna
actually
introduce
got
yourself?
into this game from playing MCOC for like 3 to 4 years now. And then I seen like one of those like suggested games by the same company, and that's how I found this game. A couple months into beta. So I'm not from day one beta player, but like halfway through kind of thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And Zzimba, how did you get in?
I think I just looked up new like trending games. I like Marvel. I'm addicted to Marvel. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
downloaded, got hooked on it. Started slapping everybody. And then Renzu and Rue got sick of losing so much to me, so they just invited me in, recruited me, and the rest is history. You know?
Yeah. All right, well, let's kick her off here. Here's the first talking point. We're going to talk about the state of the game. So the new patch just dropped. A lot of changes were made. I'm sure everyone's noticed.
So if everyone wants to talk for 2 minutes, and then we'll have like open discussion.
Yeah, we'll go one by one. So Renzi, what do you think of the new update here? Oh, he's paused.
Start with Zzimba. Let him figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. Zzimba, you go first, and then we'll kick back in with Renzi when he reconnects.
Oh, my honest opinion. Okay, well, okay. Sad about the SS nerf, but to be honest, generally in all, I think it made more comps more possible. I guess it really broadened the horizon for everybody. Made you kind of had to, I don't know, had to figure it out. I like it because I guess it's a little bit more competitive now. I guess the SS was a little bit too much, which is okay. But once you figure out the meta, it's not that big of a deal. But in all, I think it's a good update, and a lot of people I think are enjoying it more because they caught up a little bit more, if that makes sense. I think so. I think it gives everybody a little bit more enthusiasm to play. So in all, I think better. Good.
So
update.
do you think it was because the stacked SSs? You like needed a stacked SS on your team, so there was like no way to build another comp other than just the SS? Is that kind of what you're getting at, or?
Well, if you had a good SS, and you didn't like losing, like then why would you not use an SS? You know what I mean? That's just for like any MOBA ever. Like healers are always essential, support characters are always essential. So at that point, when it was very broken, I mean, it'd be stupid to not use an SS if you're trying to like grind. You know what I mean? If you just your probability of winning was, if you had to break it down, I mean, what? Twice as likely to win, 3 times as likely to win if you had a SS at that time, and if you had 2 good SSs, it's not that we exploited it, we just took advantage of what was given. You know what I mean? Like, life gives you lemons, make lemonade. But
the cape was very, very good. The shield on dash. I find if you didn't have that shield on dash, you really, really struggled.
Right. Well, that one was very game changing. But at the time when the book was broken, and then you had shield on special use and heavy attack, like in the middle of fights, like when you if you have maxed out gear, you'd use a heavy that's 300 shield. You use special attack. That's what? That's 6-5 basic attack from a Spidey. You know what I mean? So that's maybe what 5-4 seconds. What and this game is one little play changes the whole thing. One combo, one Hulk jump, and then it changes it all. So in those little moments, I mean, it was the meta. It was the meta.
It could really be game changing, that's for sure. JJ, what do you think of the state of the game right now?
Basically, I think that it's you're more reliant on your own merit. You're not relying on the training wheels of the SS anymore. Basically, you can't afford to make a mistake. Your mistake's going to be more severely punished now. Like if you get rooted by Spidey's double root, you're pretty much 100-0 instantly. Also, you have to learn how to counter certain champions such as Cap. Like when he stuns you, if you're Spidey, you get hit with a stun, you can be counterattacked very easily. And also at the same time, you have to know your champion and your champion build extremely well. To put out the most amount of damage and how to get around shields, and also how to kind of stack your player, your defense up against other champs, like or players using more physical damage versus energy damage. In my opinion, is there's more physical damage being thrown around right now than energy damage.
Yeah, I find that it's
for
definitely more of a DPS meta now than it was before.
And it's also a lot more combo reliant. It's no more like poke wars. It's not as much poke wars. You're waiting to get your ult. You go in, you combo, you do your big combo, and then it's whoever's left is still in the fight kind of thing, right? Yeah.
On that point, I want to bring up, since we're at the combos there, I want to make up. I was going to say this for later, but we just brought it up now. On that point, Oh, unless we're going to talk about team comps later, and you want to save that.
We will.
Team comps coming.
We'll talk about it later.
Let's do that. Yeah.
But what I did want to say is, what do you guys think about the zone shrinking? Because I found that really, really nice. I find it's pushing action more. What do you guys think about the zone shrink?
I personally think that there's still Bodok hugging, but it just doesn't last as long. You know what I mean? Because the main point is once the zone starts shrinking, you have to protect the pots, right? And make sure that you can possibly poke down the other team before they get to the pots and put some damage in on them.
But I think you don't want to get rid of the safety net of going to Bodok, because then what would be the point of the Bodok causing damage? I mean, you always want to have that safety net.
Run 3 Hulk and the game would be over.
Right? Could you imagine other people who don't have the DPS? Like, what can they do if they couldn't at least go back to? Then we would just be W King the whole time. That would be no fun. So though it is frustrating sometimes. I mean, you can't really blame anybody for Bodok hugging. I mean, if you have a Storm, Iron Man, Spidey versus Cat, Hulk.
It's a good idea. Straight up, that's kind of what happens.
It's part of the game. It's part of the game. That's why Bodok does damage.
We'll talk more about that in comps too, right? Because if you're running no shooters, that's gonna happen to you, right?
Yeah.
So overall, do you think this update it's obviously much better and the state of the game's good? Do you think overall that morale's up since the update?
Yeah. I think everybody's a lot happier. I mean, you can see it just through other alliances, just feeling like they've won more. We've definitely lost a lot more than before, but we figured it out. I mean, we're back at it, and it's fun. It keeps you humble. You know what I'm saying? Makes you realize, hey, you can still lose, and it could be anybody. We could have 1,200 characters, and we can play teams that are 800s, 900s, but their PR levels are what 13, 1,200. They just haven't had the teams with the comps and maybe they don't talk with one another.
Or they just didn't have the time to grind.
And also on that note, I find team synergy and know your team's play styles is more important than ever, right?
But we'll talk about comps in a little bit.
Yeah.
We should let Renzu have a chance to speak.
Yeah. Renzu, what do you think of the state of the game right now with the new update and everything?
I think it's personally healthy that SS has got nerfed. Zzimba won't agree, but I don't think it should have been nerfed as high.
I'm salty about. I am salty about it, but I completely understand. I bitch about it, but I completely understand. I mean, come on. I used to 1v3 Basic, I literally used to follow her into the Bodog, like with the shield up, like they come back out full health, she'll come back
But-
enraged, and I just
Other
heal her
than
back up. It was so unfair, but whatever.
Other than that, like the state of the game is really good. It just all depends on who you're playing with now. It's a lot more about finding the right team and how you work together than it is about the SS 1v3ing the game.
Yep, that's for sure. Yeah, everyone's got to do their part now. Can't just have a big time heavy carry like
It's,
SS.
yeah, there's no carry. Might be doing more on damage, but you cannot carry. You're only this patch, this meta is definitely you're only as good as your weakest link. By definition, like honestly,
sure.
definitely. So I
When
think
someone gets
overall,
caught, they're gone,
everybody
right? So-
appreciates it.
All right, well, that was good for the first point. Let's switch up here to the next one. We got team comps. I know that everyone's been testing out new team comps to try and go with. And some have been working, some haven't.
Yeah.
I found a lot that haven't. I don't know about you guys so much, but Renzi, you want to start her off here?
Do you want like favorite team comps that we found, or like just general team comps we found that work? Like that's kind of a broad question.
Your
Yeah,
opinion
yeah.
on team comps and everything, everything.
Yeah, team comps
I
that
think
are
you
seem to be
essentially
working.
need a Spider-Man in every team now. They are the new SS,
Agreed.
Yep,
Agreed.
that's
and
for sure.
that's how I feel about team comps. After that, like you want a stun and you want one ranged. It's more of the legit, like more MMO style team comps where it's tank, support, DPS. That's your best team comp you'll find.
Yep.
In my opinion.
So you have like Spider-Man, normally half DPS, half CC, and then you need someone to tank it out for you guys, and another like Storm's pretty good for the support and a little bit of damage coming
Like
in there too.
Windstorm is legit now.
Yeah.
This is where I think Orb SS is still playable, because I think that Orb can be really greasy, especially if you have like a Hammer Hulk and you can hold them in place. Like,
I know I've been
Excuse
getting
me.
caught by it a lot.
I know it's been.
I feel
nerfed,
like
but-
with the new passives, if I get a chance to test the new passives, I might agree. I just don't like the fact that I die within like 3 spider shots.
You
It
gotta
doesn't
expose
feel very
yourself.
fun.
What's up, JJ?
Oh, you have to with Orb. I find you have to kind of like extend yourself more as like a champion. You have to go in to get that Orb or that L2. You know what I mean? You have to put yourself out in the open, and you can be rooted by a spite just that much more easily, right?
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
really hard to
Yeah.
stand in one spot for 3 or 4 seconds now.
Yeah,
But I feel
especially
like
with the ult.
SS might have a place again once Spidey gets toned down,
Mhm.
honestly.
But I think if your
Hopefully.
Hulk's standing beside your SS, like it can still be. I don't know. I got clapped by it a couple times today, and they
I'm
were
not
like
saying it's
lower
not
power
viable.
rating.
I'm just saying why take an SS when you can have another Spider-Man?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
When it's very
When you say it like
DPS,
that.
and it's very DPS based. Like the SS is so squishy now. It's unbelievable. So
Do you
like,
find the
if
armor
you're
break still viable?
The armor
not as
break
much,
is
it is,
awesome.
but not as much as I thought. For example, if like a smart thing to do is always think about this is what I was going to bring up as far as team comps. And this is a really good tip that I kind of want to extend to everybody who can be listening, especially on our team. Is I look at it when we match up with somebody. I always look at the other team's comp, sort of like a poker hand. You always gotta imagine the worst case scenario. So you see Orb, Hulk, Cap. What's the worst case scenario? You get Orb, then you get ulted. You know what I mean? You get Iron Man, Spidey. You always just think of the worst case and what's the one combo that you could just get melted with, right? So you just look at the worst case scenario, then you go based off of that. You know what I mean? You can kind of come off the ults, and then you can. Does that make sense? You just imagine the worst case scenario, then you play off of it, and hopefully you can communicate with somebody, because all of a sudden you're just gonna get orbed, and then you're gonna be, I got comp. Well, yeah, I mean that's probably why they had that comp. You know what I'm saying?
Or,
So
or
like,
double Orb was even worse.
regardless, and then, which is
Oh, yeah,
why
double
I
orb
think
back in the day was pretty bad.
I do
Which
have
is
to
why-
admit, though, if you play double orb, there's a chance you can root their whole team because of the bug. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the bug
Well,
has
I think
made it a
now
little bit.
it's
They need
good
to
to
fix
have
that.
always a gauntlet Hulk or a cap, anything that stuns you off of orbs, anything that disrupts, which is why web shooter spider is still good. Anything that disrupts.
Yeah, the web
know,
shooter disrupt is really nice.
Yeah. So as far as if you want to go on a run or something, you always gotta have a sort of like make sure you can think of the worst case scenario and have a counter for it. Don't like go out there with storm, lightning storm, and then laser Iron Man and Gatling spot, and then you're surprised why you're not winning. Like, or what can you possibly do? What stuns? What route? Like, how can you stop something else? Like, does that make sense?
So do you guys think CC is like a biggest part of the team comp then for right now?
Mhm.
Like
It's one shot combo. It's the combos. You have to have a comp that has
A combo.
a combo that's gonna land, and you have to base that off. You know what I mean?
That's
And
why
this
I
is
like
secrets we're giving out right here. These are secrets. It's just you just gotta think about it. Like
it was like last meta with like the Orb L3 plus the Hulk L3. That combo was like instant kill. It's
my
basically
favorite combo.
Yeah, makes it easy, and that's why Rezu's point. That's why the Spidey. I mean, everything is initiated by the root. Even if
Frenzy
it's
wanted
just
to say
Gatling.
something here too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, Zzimba pretty much covered it there. That's why Spidey is so essential, is getting because they have a guaranteed CC pretty much, so you can work off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Where everything else is situational, Hulk ult can be dodged, and you don't really want to play off of an ult, like just that being your win condition. You want to be able to win the game outside of your ult. So Spider-Man works perfect for that because you have the guaranteed CC.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Skill 1, nice short cooldown, and you can catch them quick and pop them off. JJ, you see any team comps that have been working good for you?
Well, not that have been working great for me, but just to go into team comps in general, I'm finding that having two of the same champ on the same team is actually working very well. Two examples being double Windstorm and double Gatling Spidey, for example. We were just talking about getting the double root, and it's just so much CC, and just the duration of the CC is nuts, right? You can't even do anything when you're in there, especially when you have a
it's such a combo-based meta. It's a really DPS combo-based
meta. The counter to that is double Hulk. Again, double characters.
Yeah. And then
more double characters.
Double Windstorm. I think a couple people on our team were testing how you can always have that projectile L2 active if you have two, so you're always getting the DPS off of the Windstorm, which is a huge thing, because right now, even if you have the Deluge of Set on for Windstorm, she's still kind of lacking a bit of damage, right? It's all hitting multiple foes, but with
not if you're avenged. I mean, depends, of course, but like
my Windstorm wrecks. I just get her for 700.
So do you guys think the Windstorm's good right now in the meta? Do you guys like the new weapon on her? Yeah.
With a good team. With a good team who understands the negatives to win and knows how to exploit and take advantage of the positives. I don't think a lot of people take advantage of our SP2 that much. Like if I see the circle, I'm gonna stand in there, especially when I'm Spidey. Or I'm not moving from that circle. I mean, you're guaranteed to win that exchange on a very exchange-based game. How many times do you just auto in front of somebody till you realize, oh, they hit harder, never mind, back up. At SP2, you sit in there, you're almost guaranteed to win that exchange.
And
I think that's why.
Sorry.
Go ahead,
so
JJ.
now you continue. Okay, the thing about Windstorm is a lot of it, we were talking about last night, I think Renz was saying, how it's a lot of predicting, like, canceling Hulk's L1 when he's about to enrage, or
that's huge.
Situational awareness.
Situational awareness. And it's not a champ that you would pick up as your first champ. It's basically you have to know what's going on. You have to know the starting leg. You have to know like what combos are going to happen and what
I would almost advise playing Windstorm after you play every other character to know their cooldowns.
It's extremely.
I tried to use Windstorm and I didn't understand it at all. I was
Windstorm's really good for disruption. So it's really good for disruption. It might be the best hero right now as far as disrupting things, because the SP3 of course disrupts anything. SP1 disrupts for the most part anything, so as far if you can take it,
that's literally it. That's the only thing.
Yeah, just on that point though, disrupting Hulk's enrage excuse me, is actually one of the biggest things you can do right now because that makes him have another 15 seconds before he could really engage. It's huge. It's a huge game changer.
Or do anything, because like Hulk outside of a rage is as squishy as Storm. It feels like fuck. Just get
You gotta get right in there.
That's another thing too with Spidey. If you can hop in on Hulk right after he's been enraged, you can take him down pretty good.
And the thing, I think dashes, your use of dashes are more valuable than ever in this meta as well. Like a lot of people just, I say a lot of people, but I've noticed it. I used to do it by just muscle memory. Just even if I didn't need to, I would just dash out of there just to do a combo and dash out for no reason, even though I didn't have to. But now I think dashes are more valuable than ever on such a combo based meta, you know. So I think
you can't get comboed off on.
No, I honestly believe your dash should only be used to evade something.
You have to evade a CC with it,
right? Not just for better placement or anything.
In other moments, your flash or your flicker or whatever, like you use that to escape. You don't,
right? Yeah,
you know
exactly. So yeah.
What's up, JJ?
Right. Oh, I didn't say anything, but to elaborate on all of what was said, like it's totally different. It's a totally different meta, DPS based meta. But I'm just trying to think here. As you see, there's like more champs that like the high risk, high reward champs, such as like Electric Storm. I've tried playing Electric Storm yesterday, and holy heck, like, it's so hard to engage with so much CC. You got that one jump. And then if you use that one jump, if they're playing double Spidey, it doesn't matter, right? You're gonna get rooted by the other
But that goes into your subconscious play style because you're a very aggressive player. I don't think you realize it, and you might feel like you're somewhat conservative to yourself because I play with you a lot, but you're very aggressive.
And just in general, because you have one dash, and you were just kind of elaborating on what you were saying about having two dashes.
Yeah.
So to use your dash wisely, Storm is like the kind of like the pinnacle for using your dash wisely. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
You really have to get like behind a wall or something.
I got 1250 on Electric, so it's not that bad.
Well, you get carried by us, so.
Throwing heat. The thing I find with Storm though is that dash. I swear you can be rooted for like 0.2 of a second and you can still get out of it. Like it has like a time to loop dash. Like I swear.
Yeah, it seems sometimes that you get hit, but you still are able to dash out of it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but
I noticed the opposite. When I would dash, it would take my dash cooldown and I'd stay there rooted and get fucked.
I've had that happen too, actually.
I think that's why stamina regen and health regen. I think stamina is kind of slept on right now.
I think it's really important too. I tell Chad all.
Yeah, it's slept on for sure. I mean, such a
Run like
CC based game, especially
on
all these damn Spideys. Like every other game is. I mean, if you don't use a Spidey, that's like back when you didn't have an SS. Like those roots are essential, even if accidental. Like if you play, like you could just capitalize on that. You don't really have to calm. You just see the rooted, boom. Like they just dashed in, got rooted, boom. Situational awareness.
All right, so that's enough about that one. So let's move on to how to build champions. So every champion has specific stats that they can get. Like Panther has slashing power, and Iron Man has heat power. Hulk has crushing power. Which stats do you guys like to try and stack up on champions? I know a really important thing right now is to have HP regen. You want to have HP regen? There's only 2 slots that have HP regen on them. And so both of those slots.
And it has a cap too. I believe it's like 44 is your max.
Yeah, 44. 44 is your max, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
you can get 222s.
Right. On those, I would say it'd be beneficial if it depends on your gear. I think on your secondary attribute with it. So like if you get health, and then health regen on something, of course, on such a DPS like meta, I don't it might work for like a tank, but of course, if you get lucky with the health regen and light attack power, or like piercing, if you get a good roll like light attack power, heavy attack power, and anything, depending on your playstyle, it also varies on your playstyle too. If you're a very conservative player, then armor. Like I know people who really stack up on armor and resist, and then do regen, and then they can work that way. They play very conservative, but
Yep.
comes down to I guess your luck at that point. But if you get a good roll, depending on your play style, once health regen is there, I would highly recommend throwing it on there
Health regen,
for
so
sure.
I'll throw a fucking green on over a purple in this meta. Like it's that.
Right. Well, that's the exactly for yeah. That was the point that Rue was making, is that I had an epic for my Spidey, and it looked good. It had resist and heavy piercing power, rooted foes, and then I switched it to a rare that had health regen and just like light attack power, and you'd be surprised that like literally I hit 25 more, and then I'm a little bit tankier. So like this last week was really eye-opening for me, because I saw like we're so dependent and hoping for epic gear, and that's what you need. And after seeing, because yeah, well, I absolutely did, because like the gear score difference between my epic and rare was like 150. Like it's unbelievable. Like you wouldn't even consider it, but then like just talking to everybody and then just trying it out
Stats
and
matter.
realizing it's mind blowing. It's because there's such short games. They could be 3 minutes, 4 minutes long. So do you in the long, because they're so instant little combos, such DP, anything can happen so quick. I mean, we've all been victims to how fast you can get melted by something. You know what I'm saying? So like I don't know. It's eye opening for me. Honestly, I know Renzo has been doing that for long. I didn't. Oh, of course, Epic. Who wouldn't pick an Epic over that little extra 2 stat? Like who wouldn't? But then because I think if it was like a League of Legends, for example, in comparison, if it was like a League of Legends where you can like where you can stack. What's the word? Where you can when you get better throughout time. What's the word?
I don't know.
XP.
Like during the game you get better per level. What's the word?
Oh yeah. You just level up. That's all it is.
Right. If it was a longer game, I could understand how things like that, like physical resist and armor, would count. But like in such short games, in this DPS meta, I'd highly consider just.
I don't know. Like look at my Hulk. It's a tanky beast, and I went 0 tank stats pretty much. It makes no sense.
Yeah, some of the synergies can make up for tanky
Tankiness.
stats.
Well, Blue
Yeah.
mine was Foons. I think it was Foons who or I don't know who had something, and they were using like commons and just uncommons. But who was it?
Yeah, because he had
Yeah,
the
and then
piece, but they didn't have light attack power and nerfed his damage, so he used the uncommon.
yeah, and then it was for other heroes too. I think it was like his Iron Man or something, but he just stacked up on or it was his SS. He just like stacked up on mystic power. Like everything he had was either uncommon or common, and he just stacked up, and like his power level was like 1,000 something for his SS, and he was like his curse was ticking for like 100 something, and it's like, hold on, are we looking at this the wrong way? So I guess I'm saying that is like maybe you're not getting the gears. I know we all scrapped on commons and stuff like that, but maybe you're receiving and you're not. You know what I mean? There's opportunities there that you might not be. There's
What really opened my eyes up to that is I had this one frost weapon that was 92 power as uncommon.
God, man.
And I was like, have I just been scrapping some epic ass weapons without even realizing it? So I check weapons all the time and like everything, because I've yet to see an epic better than my frost weapon, because it had 92 power, attack power, and I think it was special power or something else. And it was like, wow.
Yeah, it's like everything that Storm wants, right? So.
Well, I'm telling you,
And
like
it's
I
on
can't even
green
express to you how like that Spidey gear change and like the 30-25 per basic, and then It's something that I'm like barely opening my eyes to, and I'm open to. So I'm looking at my gear that I'm receiving just a little bit more. Like, hold on, man. I'm like, there could be
Also,
something here.
Not to correct you, Cheddar, but the special stat for Spidey is piercing power, by the way.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
What did I say?
But yeah,
Slashing?
but
Yeah.
on that point
Oh,
where
I'm
you're
not
saying,
paying
Cheddar, I
attention.
guess to answer your question on how to build your character, I guess it goes based off of how you play and your comp. So if you're gonna be very auto attack based, then stack up on the light attack. If you're gonna be using Iron Man drones, stack up on the heavy attack. You know, because I remember Blaze is a great example of heavy attack. Like sheesh,
Oh, yeah,
like
stacked it.
sheesh, like oh my god, if those little drones hit you, just like 140, 140, 140. Oh my god, and that's your heavy, and then he
Oh, I got a
my
quarter
God.
health left because I wasn't paying attention because everyone else's does 90.
Right, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
this meta's very it's brought a new element to the game, which I kind of appreciate, and it took us a day to get adjusted. You know what I mean? It was kind of it was so different. I don't think anybody can disagree that it was kind of we were all like, whoa, what the fuck is going on right now? What is going on?
Oh, yeah.
You know
I
what
think
I
it's
mean?
overall better though.
Yeah, go
took
JJ.
different comps to really realize, like, okay, this is where we're at, and you have to adjust. Unfortunately, like, oh my god, I haven't touched
You
my
also
SS.
start to see the people that depended on the SSs too much.
Yeah. For
Right,
sure.
well, not even depending. We were so accustomed to it. Like the nerf was so mind. I think even a lot of people who hate the SS, like, were like, okay, I agree. Like, okay, I understand the Mystic Shelter being nerfed. Okay, but like the healing got nerfed. It's like when you see an SS, it's kind of like I haven't lost to an SS yet. Like since the update, like I still haven't lost. I mean, what do you have to really worry about? The root, maybe, you know, the orb. Besides that, I mean, you know, I don't know. But it's definitely you have a lot more options now, which is what I think a lot of people are really appreciating now.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Good luck, J-Red.
What about you, JJ? There, I know you like to put a
Okay,
lot of
I
work
didn't want
into
to
building
interrupt.
champs.
No, but in general, I think it's still kind of similar. You know what I mean? With the more specific your gear is, the more kind of it rewards you. Like when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about like specific damages, like crushing damage, slashing damage, ice damage. You know what I mean? Like if you want your champ to be hitting hard on like almost everything, you want a specific damage that kind of relates to your champion on both your basic attacks and your special attacks. Not all champions have that damage. Like you'll have a mix of damages like Iron Legionnaire shock damage and your heat damage. But then you have like the more like consistent champions like say Electric Storm, for example, even though a lot of people aren't going to be using her, has a consistent like electric the shock damage across all their gear. So
Yeah,
that's
Hulk's the
still
same
it.
way. I think it's all
Yeah.
crushing for him.
All
too.
crushing. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know what I mean. So you know what I mean. There's kind of like a tier. Like I feel like the more specific the damage is, like say the specific damage would be first, and then it would be like attack power, and then your later heavy. But at the same time, going back to what Zzimba said on gear, it depends on your play style. Like I know that heavy attack is great for Iron Legionnaire with the rockets, and then there is I'm trying to think of another other example here. Oh, like on your cap heavies, they basically do nothing, right? So you don't want to put stack heavy attack on your super soldier, right? So
well, yeah, you realize you gotta understand the role that your champ plays.
Yeah.
Like nobody relies on Cap for DPS.
Exactly.
No, but we rely on them to land that damn ult. You know, so do
That's all the
anything.
reason you bring Cap for. Is if you
That's
hit that
so
ult, you're a good
stack
Cap.
up that
miss that ult,
resist,
you're shit.
armor, health, stack that shit up so you can land. Come on, nobody's really looking for that. No, and same. I mean, with Hulk, to be honest, I mean, if you get good gear, of course you'll be hitting good with Gauntlet, but you're there to disrupt, initiate combos.
Disrupt. Yep.
And to ask a question, you guys, what do you think resists or worth right now? Do you believe like physical resist is better or energy resist is better? And how much would you guys put on your champs just generally?
I generally go for one roll of each.
Yeah,
One
that's
of
what I
one
do
of
as
each?
well.
One-
Because you want to
one-
make sure you're covered a little bit on both, but you don't want to
Yeah.
focus too much on it.
Depends on comp. Depends on comp. So like if you're playing with the Storm, who's really support based, you're already getting armor and resistance based off of special uses, so you can really stack up the DPS. That's why I recommend keeping gears. Keeping different set of gears.
Which is hard with this new event.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, just
Don't
keep them
scrap
there.
stuff just to scrap it for this event. Even if you want to get first, don't scrap something just to scrap it. Sorry, I had to get in there on that.
No,
'cause,
you're
like,
fine. And especially I say that because you'll face that one team who's grinding and they have a comp that's working and they're not going to change anything. Well, you can find if it's Iron Man Spidey, you're getting melted really quick. Then it probably help to throw in a little physical resist. Because sometimes the base stat damage might out DPS them if you have just a little bit of resistance and armor.
Yeah,
Right.
a lot of it has to do with the meta too. Like as we've seen, like the first couple days of the new meta, it was all Iron Legionnaires, and getting melted.
And Web Warrior
Yeah,
Warrior.
so
Bro.
You have to realize there's a reason for all those Iron Legionnaires. They were fucking one-shotting the Bodok, dude.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like it's
Hashtag God mode.
you want to gear your champs, I guess, resistances to where the meta is right now. And if it's Spidey heavy right now, maybe physical resistance, because piercing damage is a physical damage, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that I actually stack I think 2 or 3 pieces of gear on most of my champions. If I get a double roll for physical damage, I actually like that, but that's like my personal preference, and I don't.
Well, the resist were I think it was always relatable and necessary. For example, like on my SS, I have a set specifically with a lot of energy, which was Mystic Power back then, but it's energy resist, and that's when we used to like go up against you and Renzu back in the SS days. And if I didn't have that extra 150 resist, we would get creamed. And when we were able to pull off that win, it was because of that resist that allowed me to stay in there that 20, 30 seconds, a little bit extra longer. And that's the thing with this game. It's such a quick game that you just gotta, it's so the minuscule. So the little things, it's just seconds. It's such a, you know what I mean? It just seconds are really important in the damn game. Like if you had one more in range,
like 2 or 3 times, and then you'd change your gear. You'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to switch over to my other gear." And then
to the Mystic Shelter, to the resist, and it was a resist, and it took like for JJ he was really good with the SP2 on the book, and I remember he used to be aggravating, and it'd be like 1/4 of my health if he landed one, even the edge of it. And you put that resist on, and it's just 1/6 of your health. Oh, then you can exchange. You come in, then we can exchange. Now mine does 1/5 of his health instead of my 1/6 of the health, and then he's a little bit more. Okay, hold on. He hit a little bit harder, so it kind of messes with the mentality there, and it kind of, So that's one way to look at it.
all right, we're gonna switch up topics here. We'll go to the last topic. Things that you guys want to see in the future for the game here. So I know we just got an update now, but right after one update drops, it's time to start thinking about the next one.
Yeah. Hopefully they're not so far apart from each other now.
Yeah, hopefully they come a little bit closer. Characters, that's what you want to see, Renzu?
I got one.
Answer Zzimba first.
Okay, Zzimba go.
Got one. Targeting system, man. I've asked. The targeting system is aggravating sometimes. And I'm gonna try to bug them. I'm gonna try to bug them in global chat, like just the targeting system. Like there should be no reason I'm standing on top of somebody with like, we've all been there. They have 10 HP, and then like you're hitting a Hulk and you're walking like you're going towards this one person, and then you're standing on top of this person who you're trying to kill, and you're just auto attacking somebody else, and you want to hit this one. You know what I mean? Like
Makes me so
Yeah.
mad until
You're like
It's-
bumping into them, but you can't.
there
shoot
should
them.
be like there should be an option, man. I wish there was like a ban somebody here. There should be an option where like you can prioritize. There should be an option. So if you want to hit the nearest hero, the hero with the lowest HP, you should have that
or even the
option.
one you're pointing at.
Yeah.
Directional.
Even when you're pointing
Don't force you to auto attack the nearest ones. I don't think you should be like
I know I've
forced
played a
to
lot
do
of
that.
other mobile MOBAs, and they have really good targeting systems actually. So
Alliance Wars, bro. It's bad
I can
enough as
see
it
them
is. Could you
definitely being able to
imagine?
fix that.
Oh my god, Alliance Wars.
One
my
thing I
God.
would
Yeah, go,
really
JJ.
like to see
A war that we're not even trying to start, man. We're trying to like let it go over and over.
It's bad enough as it is. I don't think that's why the devs have even mentioned it. Like they're still having problems right now. Like just for no fucking reason. You want Alliance Wars to really have a reason? Like yeah, check the Alliance Wars record, bro. Check this shit out. Oh my god. No,
Like,
it's
okay,
toxic
okay.
enough as it is.
Already bad enough. Should we really need
We're
to go
this
fire?
community is not mature enough right now. It is not there right now. We're working on it. It's not as toxic as it was. I mean, little by little, we're kind of
Let's
we're
let JJ
building those
say
We're
bridges.
working on our side at least, but the other side just won't stop.
We'll just leave it there, though.
Yeah.
What I would like to see in the game, though, I'm pretty
Fucking
sure what a
Renzo,
lot
here
of
he
people-
goes.
what a lot of people are hoping is private lobbies, something that we can actually play with friends without having
Custom
to, like,
matches, private
Yeah.
lobbies, yeah,
Yeah,
custom
yeah.
matches.
Yeah, was saying that instead of
Like Call of Duty in the day, just invite the other team and just don't throw down. No rewards, no just put your dick on the table. Let's see who's bigger, you know?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because right now, as we know, we're just trying to randomly queue into each other or avoid queuing into each other. But most of all, like I think we were trying to, you know what I mean, practice with our alliance, maybe get better. You know what I mean? We're not always out there to take and get BR, or just maybe test a new weapon. But I think the best we can do right now for that is like just deathmatch and like hoping we're gonna get.
It'd be
Yeah,
so cool if we
it's
could
so
link up
weird.
on
It's hard to
deathmatch.
test champions because you
Yeah.
have all those little squares that totally mess up the test. Like
Yeah.
you want to see your damage. Oh, they get the shield. Well, now you have to deal with armor. You don't know. Or they get a super powered thing, and then you.
So there's no real way in the game, and from what I've read in the ROC official Discord, that there's not going to be any private lobbies coming soon. From what I read.
And
So they
that's
said nothing
scary
about
because
private
their
lobbies?
soon is 2 months.
Yeah.
They said that they've seen everyone's request for private lobbies, but it wasn't in their game plan at the start.
Hmm.
I know.
Well, at the start, I mean, that's why. Okay.
It should have, but
I mean, I'm gonna see if they replied to my targeting system. That should be something that should not be that big of a deal. Oh, and then like I brought this up to them. You should be able to have an option to choose your location of the joystick. Like you should have an option if you want it to move every time you touch it or not. Like if you just want it in one place.
locked position.
They
or
should have it
place.
locked. If you
Because
can.
there's many times where I'm like playing, I'm touching it, and I run out of room, and I'm like, I can't, and then I just stop because like my thumb's on the charger. Like
Since
you
Some
know,
goes off the
so-
side of the
Sorry,
screen.
I need to cut off for 1 second here. This is a perfect time to complain. I don't know if anyone else is having this problem. I keep hitting that exclamation mark up at the top, and it comes up like alliance, and it stops everything I'm doing. If I'm in the middle of a fight and I SP1 and then I go to Gatling and all of a sudden that exclamation mark comes up, that is a bad spot for that. Okay, I'm done.
Like,
Sorry.
That needs to fix that too, because that exclamation mark at the top left is going to be for traps and shit on the ground. They're going to re-add that back to the game, and it's going to tell you what traps are in the game. But a good way to fix that would just have a screen before you load in say these are the traps. You don't need a button. If you can't read it in that time, well, get hit by the traps, bud.
Maybe some people have goldfish memory. Oh gosh.
Like you don't need to be constantly reminded the whole game which traps. Like that. That's
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, oh yeah, it's that trap. How many times are you gonna check that?
I think it should be pretty obvious which trap it is, because like even in beta at the start, like they were color coded for what they did. So
Yeah, I remember those stupid green spiky things, man.
Oh, yeah, Palladium. Was it Palladium Mines that they were in? Was that
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Beach Coliseum, I can remember. It's so annoying. What about buffs and nerfs? This is something that other games tend to do fairly frequently. Have you guys noticed anyone who's overpowered or
Spider-Man.
underpowered?
Yeah,
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man's way too overpowered. The duration of the roots is way too long.
The route
Especially
for
Gatling.
S2 needs to go down. It
Yeah.
does not need to be that long. Like, there's no need for that. Like, you can literally roll as a Hulk and get behind them and still punch while they're in that route.
Yeah, that one, it's too long, that's for sure, and it's
The
very
damage
easy to
and
hit.
everything's fine. It's just the S2 that needs tweaking.
I
Yeah,
find
it's
that
just a little too long.
I feel like Ice Storm's freeze is a little bit long too, but like also at the same time,
Long?
it's the glitch.
No, it's short, bro.
No, it's kind of long, but it's the fact that sometimes you'll hit it twice with the chill and it won't freeze.
At
It's
least with Ice, it's skill reliant, man. With Spider-Man, you hit L1 and you channel your L2 while it's going, and you guarantee hit almost every time. Like, there's at least some skill to hit the Ice freeze.
What do you
Speaking
guys
of the ice
think
freeze
about?
too, when you do the ice freeze, when they get below a certain amount of health, they get unfrozen, which doesn't make any
okay,
sense.
so
'cause-
this is the problem I had with Ice Storm when I was playing it, and okay, so it's already difficult enough to get yourself in a position to try to use your ult. It has to be very situational, you know. But like I say, if you freeze or chill, okay, for example, if you freeze somebody and then you go in,
Yeah.
and then you turn your ult on, they should not be unfrozen until your damn ult's done at least, or not like as soon as you begin. Like as soon as that freeze is over, like it's just done, and then you're just ulting like for the next 5 seconds, and they're just walking out. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you're already so the cooldown is longer than most for the ice just because of it. So like you only have so much. And I mean, I experienced this with Cheddar too. Like, I mean, you got to be somewhat consistent with your SP1 or SP2. If not, then Storm is shit. Like for mine, my Storm does like 75 per basic. So it is completely dependent on the SP2 and SP1 and that is that's the only thing that I have to offer. So like when I like freeze them and then fucking like I land my ult and then they just walk out and they're just autoing fucking out of my ult, just looking at me in my like, what's the point of it? Because it's already squishy. All you have is your freeze for the Ice Storm. That's your
Also,
own.
why do heavies unfreeze people is my other question.
They do.
It does too much damage.
That's what I was talking about earlier. If you're frozen and you take too much damage, you get unfrozen, which doesn't make any sense because you can root someone to death.
Specifically, if you use the ice heavy, it will always unfreeze regardless.
Oh, really?
So I just
Okay.
tagged Kabam.
I'll have to try
I was
that.
like,
Yeah,
I
we'll have
asked
to
him
test
about
that.
the targeting system.
Every time
And
I
of course-
used it, it did it. Like every single time, so I stopped heavying into it because it was wasting my CC.
Oh, no, sorry, hold that
I
thought.
was
Let me just
noticing that last night
interrupt.
a lot, actually.
Hold that thought. I just messaged Kabam and he was like about the targeting system. And he was like, we can't speak to anything coming in the future. If you have specific complaints or suggestions, those will be helpful.
Check this podcast right here.
Yeah, check this right here.
Honestly, I guarantee one of them's lurking anyway.
Yeah, they tend to watch. We have some people in our list that never talk.
Yeah. So
It's got to be some of them. All right. Well, you guys have anything else to add that you want to see in the future?
final comments.
No, I mean, that was good.
More maps.
More maps?
More maps.
More
Alright.
maps. Less stronghold maps. More arena maps.
More,
Maybe
More,
5v5.
More alliance-based events that are not based on spending money.
Yeah.
More like an actual get
Like
so many points
PvP
per-
competition? Like PvP? Like,
Yeah, like an actual PvP
The
competition.
daily one's okay,
Yeah.
but there's a cap, so.
But like,
even if it was just
why
something
is there
stupid
yet
like
to be a
win
PvP event or even
Win
like
tally?
a grinding event? Like
Yeah.
play
Yeah,
20
win
games with
grinding.
Spider-Man, like something like that.
Yeah.
In PvP.
Play X champion 10 times. Play 7 different champions.
Solo the
10
whole other
times.
team by yourself.
Instead of a total pay-to-win event, like the only way to truly win the event is to buy the gear.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing I want to see in the game are titles. Like, do you know in MCOC you get titles for doing something like difficult or completing a milestone or something? Like, get a title that you can put under your name or something like that when you look at your profile. That'd be really cool. And
Like,
that would be cool.
The
And
first
it
person
looks
that hit 8750 should have got a title for that.
or like get 100,000 kills as Hulk or something crazy like that to like it kind of make you want to play the game more,
Incentivizes
like an
you.
achievement. Yeah.
Yeah, like 100 stuns or whatever in a game
Yeah.
with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like for the
And they have
people
really
at
ticket
8750,
incentives. So.
you should have got some sort of units or something for that. That's a pretty big thing to hit max on every time.
and
Every other game gives you something if you hit max.
my last suggestion, I think somebody brought this up to a dev, is locking your gear so you don't scrap a piece of gear that you want to keep. If you're drunk.
Fortunately,
or
they're
if
good
you're
with
not
their
drunk.
ticket system, and you can get your gear back. So
Funny
I'll
story
give
about
them-
that last night. I thought I had deleted all of my storm gear. It was just a visual bug. And I
Oh,
was
yeah,
I
that
got
visual
that.
bug.
I got that.
and I was freaking out. I was like,
Exactly
well, I
what
guess I'm in a lightning storm now because I have one set of gear.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just go to the backpack and go back in, and then it all comes back.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I was having like a mental breakdown. I was like, my wind staff, it was so perfectly statted.
Actually, I am gonna say something about that though. Like, I try not to focus on comments too much, but the more PVE that's like helps you get better would be nice. Like where you can actually grind by yourself and like get better. You know, like deathmatch, like Renzi was saying earlier, it's kind of hard with the buff to really know what you're doing or if you're getting better. It's more about buffs and tracking down the highest kill.
And
Kind
they,
of like a
person.
training mode,
They
Yeah,
need
like
it-
a training mode.
they also need a chapter system, like an actual story mode that you could queue up with your friends and stuff, and like maybe go beat like Magneto or some shit. That'd be cool. I don't know.
Magneto.
Even if it was just
Like
solo.
Thanos,
Yeah,
bro.
even if it was solo, like it's
Thanos would be like way later though. Like, why would Thanos be the first boss?
Avengers, bro.
But that's an
Alright,
end
yo.
game. Like the last thing. Like, oh yeah, let's just jump right to the end and then start over again.
I mean, honestly, that would be like
It's turned into a robot.
like theme based like storylines, like, you know what I mean, maybe get to Doc Ock and go through that storyline, like maybe a storyline.
That's what I
for-
mean.
yeah,
Or like
that'd be fucking cool. Yeah, that'd be
like
fucking
spider like character specific.
cool. Like
Yeah.
get the ultimate like
Yeah.
Goblin or something, Green Goblin. That'd be fucking dope, man. That'd be fucking dope. Yeah.
I
That'd be
would play the shit out of that.
Yeah.
But
it help you get better.
But the
too,
thing
I
is,
think, right?
they create somewhat cool events, but they're so short. Like we finished that shit in
Yeah,
20
this
minutes
last
and never
Heroic
go
one was
back.
fun.
Why would we go back?
Yeah,
the
there's no
Heroic
replay
one was fun.
value.
Like give us something to reach for. Like damn, like just like
Yeah.
for that PvE event, that would have been super sick if there was like rewards based on percentage for like a point to 100% the event. Like find that perfect strategy to do it, and you get like the sick reward or something, right?
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Mhm.
something.
Like
I know they don't wanna
Something
give
else,
50%,
man.
there should have been like a 75% tier and 90%
Well,
tier.
the thing is that they obviously they take time to release these events. Great concept, great mechanics, great, but it's so underwhelming sometimes. Like
Yeah,
you get it done, and then you're just like back to arena, like fuck, and
Like
then
the
everybody
strikes.
wonders, well, all you play is with 1250s, motherfucker. What else can we do but grind the
Yeah.
BR? Like
Yeah,
what
like
else can we do?
the
What are we
stories
supposed to
seem-
do? To play
the
team
story-
deathmatch? Fuck you! No.
stories
Like
seem
why
to
are
be
you only
more
playing
of,
with
like-
1250s? Because they're
Alright,
all
dude,
fucking 1250, bro. I have nothing else to fucking do, bro.
Like you should see my like message request, like go on something lower, and it's like I have nothing lower to go on.
Let JJ say something. So
Yeah,
guys.
like I feel like the story modes are not even a story mode. It's more of an event, more of something that comes and goes. Like what happens if like a new player joins the game? Is like, oh, I missed the story mode. I don't know what's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're starting like in the middle of the whole fight here. Like I want something kind of like MCOC, like with the chapters. Maybe not like on the same kind of like track, but something that you can go back and replay. It's something that's not so like just like an event. Like kind of an event,
Like the
event
time-based
sort of
thing.
Yeah.
At least this event had some thought process put into it. Like you had to go one side, other side, like where the other events were just like, oh, waves of minions. Oh, waves of minions.
So I honestly believe the devs, and this is no shot at them, but I honestly believe they don't play their own events.
I know some of them actually play. I've seen them in game, but
They don't play as much as they should play the events. Let me rephrase it. They don't play as much as they should. They should best in like in-house beta testing or something, because they would understand like when you hype something up like this, like, oh yeah, alliance events, and then it's just fucking scrapping gear. Like, how does that prove anything? How does that make anybody feel better about anything? Like, how? Like,
how do you brag about spending more money and scrapping more gear? That's all
and
it is.
if you're a liar, if you say it is not a pay to win event, you're lying to yourself.
Especially since you only get what is it, 1 point or 2 points for collecting a common, and that's what you get from
you're
arena
lying to
rewards.
yourself.
Get for
1,000 points if you just collect an epic. Hey, look at all these sales for $100 for
Yo.
all these epics. Look at here.
On that point,
Can you tell what we're
1,000 for the
doing?
Epic
I bet you can't.
the 1,000 for the Epic wouldn't be so bad. There's always a pay to win factor. It's what Cheddar was saying. The issue is for collecting a 1-star, it should have been 50 points because then you can actually grind up points and there's still a free to play path. You have to leave a free to play path. You can't just make it all pay to win.
Well, J-Red, I'm reading J-Red's comment. Events are catered to the average user. There's nothing catered to end game high elo players, right? But how is that fair to the high elo players who play this the most?
Well, it's still fair. We
Probably
get the same
spend the
rewards.
most.
Yeah, we get the same rewards.
Well, it's not right. It's the same, but how is that like beneficial to us? Like, how do we
They can't
benefit
keep
anything
giving
from it?
us better stuff than the people below us, or the gap would get too big, and that's not fair. That's how we
True.
need to
Dude,
stay
call
on
me
the
Daddy
free-to-play
Yankee?
path.
Is that dude calling me Daddy Yankee? That's racist, bro.
Top my IQ. All right. Well, that was a pretty good one for our first one, I
I
think.
think it went really well, guys. Thank
Yep.
you so much for
Thank
coming.
you so much, Renzu, JJ, and Zzimba. We're gonna try and get together again next
You're welcome.
Wednesday and do the same thing. Yeah, we're gonna go right into playing games in about 2 minutes here.
Yeah, we're just gonna be right back, set things up, and then we're gonna
Yeah.
play. Hopefully, Zimba's gonna play with us because he loves
Yeah.
us.
All right,
Hell
but
yeah.
JJ, let's cue into them. I'm just
All
kidding.
right.
No,
Oh, yeah.
Zimba's coming with us.
All right.
Zimba's
No, yeah,
back.
he's trying to get
Why
avenged.
Why not?
Oh,
Don't cue into us.
Unbelievable.
thank you, guys.
See ya.
See you guys. Goodbye.
Stop.
Have a good one.